All right, thank you. Our next question now, number 8, on the subject of integrity. How, in your opinion, do we get trust and civility back in our government? Kevin Brake.
We need to follow the rules. We've got council rules, we have a city charter. We need to aspire to a higher standard. Maybe we need to form some new rules. We need to share information freely and openly. And we need to reach consensus in the open. We just need a dose of old-fashioned statesmanship. People need to put aside their personal feelings and being involved in cliques or being involved in factions, and we need to take each issue as it comes and work to find consensus on that issue. And when we reach a consensus on that issue, then we have to get behind it and promote it. I think we're coming out of an era where we've had a very dysfunctional culture in City Hall, and I think we're moving towards a more open culture, and I think we need to change some of the rules and comply with the rules we have until we gain the trust of the citizens.
Thank you. Jody Carson.
Well, I think that if we want to regain the trust and civility, we need to really communicate with our citizens in an open and honest way. We also need to look at our rules and discuss them as a council and make sure that those rules allow everyone's voices to be heard, everyone on the council and the citizens. Once we come to a set of rules, we need to all agree that we're going to abide by those rules and then follow those rules. We need to have a process by which, once a decision has been made, that we support that decision and that we move on and don't continue to go back and revisit that issue over and over. That we are able to continue on with business, and once we have reached a decision and we have communicated the reasons for that decision clearly to the citizens.
Thank you. Mike Jones.
In a few short months, we have done a great deal to restore trust in our city. We have a new city council, a respected mayor, and a staff with demonstrated competence. However, I would agree that we as a community need to restore civility. Please understand that a lack of civility in our city is not a new phenomenon. From everything I've studied, it goes back for generations. West Linn, in many ways, conducts our public business like a dysfunctional family, and the only way we can correct the problem is to recognize the problem and consciously take the steps necessary to correct the behavior. There are simply times when we collectively do not adhere to a few simple rules. It's interesting that George Washington, the father of our family, of our country, forgive me, when faced with a similar lack of civility, wrote 110 rules for civil behavior. Many of them are now archaic, but here in modern English are a few. Trust everyone with respect, be considerate of others and do not embarrass them. Don't draw attention to yourself. When you speak, be concise. When the person does their best and fails, do not criticize. These are only a few of Washington's rules, but how much better off we'd be if we all remembered and followed them. The bottom line is quite simple. We must all learn to respect each other as humans, even when we disagree with another's values or views.
Thank you. Gail Holmes.
To bring the trust back, it's got to be an open process, and an absolute open process. It can't be only sometimes in a council meeting that we have a little bit of openness. There are many times when residents want to have documentation from staff, and they have a really hard time getting that. And recently I've had a couple different people call me since I'm on the Open Oregon board. If they live in West Linn, and they're asking me, how do I go about getting this information? So we know we have to work on that process, and maybe that's just an evolution that we work on. Fair treatment, absolutely. We have to be fair to each other in every aspect. Listening to citizens. I mean, this is our city, and we all have a say. And then respecting each other, to agree to disagree. We may not always understand each other's viewpoints, but we need to respect each other and honor that. Thank you.
Thank you. Cayman Bright, please.
We start with integrity by being open and making information readily available for any citizen who wants it. The actual listening to what a citizen has to say. It would also be very great if the council took a moment as soon as community comments were over at a city council meeting to give a brief response to any concerns that citizens had instead of waiting until the end of the meeting.
Thank you.